You are listening to the sounds of the Right On Network.
Hello and welcome to episode 19 of On the Record Jams, brought to you by the Right On Network. I'm AJ, and along with me is Arthur. Hello, Arthur.
Hello, AJ. We are getting up there on these episodes. Our episodes are getting to the point where they could buy themselves a drink. We're getting close.
I mean, we're at the point now where we've gone around the sun one complete time. We're almost at 1 year of recording On the Record Jams.
Yeah, that's been a great time too, man. We've been enjoying it. We still got a lot of jams to uncover. I guess the spoiler alert for the audience is that we do have a list of songs that we plan to get to at some point, but we go back and edit and change the order sometimes. But yeah, sometimes I just look at those songs and think, oh man, this is gonna be great when we get to that song. Like so great.
And on this episode of On the Record Jams, brought to you by the Right On Network, we are going to take on the record Ha Ha by Mates of State from Lawrence, Kansas. This is a song that came out back in 2003. It's off the album Teen Boo, and it was the production by Josh Crossland and Jim Eno. Mates of State, they are a collective, a pairing, husband and wife. You have Corey Garner on keyboards and Jason Hammond on drums, and they just go for it. I've been listening to these guys for 20 plus years. One, there's a video for this song. I never knew that until like a couple of weeks ago. But I don't know how to describe the music. I always describe to people as the guy plays drums, the girl plays keyboards, and they just go for it. They both sing. But I don't know how to describe it. I know sometimes you go like, hey, is jamming a category? Because it's jamming. And I like them because it's jamming. So the music, I think, is kind of amorphous. Like there's not like a structure or a style. As they get older, because this is off the third album, it starts getting more refined and, you know, some traditional stuff. They even add members to the group live. But this is a record where it's all over the place. It's frantic, it's frenetic, and that's what I like about it. Like, I like keyboards. I like bands where they have multiple singers and, you know, going back and forth. So this always attracts me to it. I didn't think I would do a Mates of State song this early in the podcast. You know, we're 19 episodes in. But when I threw this one at you, Arthur, what was your take?
Well, yeah, it's like they mess around and they're not ashamed to change a tempo. I'm not sure what time and signature they're in, but they're not doing four on the floor at all, I don't think. And yeah, I mean they're going, like you say, they're going for it. It's like they're two solo artists coming together to do their thing. So it's an enjoyable thing to get into, but it is like I made a playlist for these guys and rocked out to them and enjoyed it. But yeah, it that's what it takes. Like I think you have to get into what they do, and like jumping in on them on a song, it's not as easy to do. You have to get into them to see what they do, and then it starts to vibe with you a little bit more. So yeah, that's what I did with Mates of State, and I had a good time.
They're like the Wu-Tang Clan, where the song is one thing and then the title is something else. So I think even if you read the titles of the songs you listen to, I don't know if I would know if like, oh yeah, that one. I sent you a couple of songs. I don't think I've ever talked to you about Mates of State. On their first two albums, they do a lot of, they're both singing at the same time, but they're saying different lyrics. So it sounds like there's a conversation going on. On this song, they're not doing that. They're both singing, but they're not doing the thing of we're singing at the same time and we're singing different lyrics. At least I don't think. So, and a lot of times because, you know, it's a husband and wife, I guess they're doing such inside talk. I never know what the lyrics mean. I think like as they get older, it's kind of straightforward. But like with this, I'll read some of these lyrics to talk about like, hey, what's the mood of the song? Because what attracted me to them, I think the first time I ever saw them, I was going to watch the anniversary and they opened up and they blew my mind, is all the changing at the speed of a dime. Like I like that. Like you and I, we like hip hop And whenever they do a beat flip in the middle of a song, I'm like, oh my God. So with them doing this, I'm like, oh yeah. So this song is called Ha Ha. It goes, I can't tell what kind of life I've led today. All that's known, it's what's debatable again. Oh, I can't see where you are. Where is the problem? Square it off, all bother. We're not to blame. And I can't see the darker wood. Square it off, all bother. Where is the problem? We're not to blame. I can't tell what kind of life I've led today. All that's known is what's debatable again. And I imagine I will see you there. You will have long flowers in your hair. I imagine I will see you there. This is the blood that we're made of, so tell it like a chronicle. Who's dancing all around? Let's give it to me now. We're dancing all around. Let's give it to me now. And I imagine I will see you there. You will have long flowers in your hair. The telegram said, are you going to call all your way home? I imagine I will see you there. Can't you hear the laughter in the air? The telegram said, are you going to call our way home? And I imagine I will see you there. I know it's stout, but it's shallow. I'm not aware. The Taliban said, who's rejuvenated your eyes, boy? This is the blood that we're made of. Go tell it like a chronicle. Who's dancing all around? Let's give it to me now. We're dancing all around. This is the blood that we're made of. Go tell it like a chronicle. We're dancing all around. Let's give it to me now. So, Arthur, we're recording this on July 8th, 2025. I never knew they said, the Taliban said, who rejuvenated your eyes, boy? Now, this is from the genius.com.
Yeah.
So I guess that's the lyric. So I'm trying to put this band in context. So like it's indie rock. Before they were made to stay, they were in like an indie rock band with other people. And then I guess the band broke up and then they went their own way and formed this. So you're kind of in this world where how do you build them? Because their sound is like, wait, what's going on? It's post 9/11, September 11th, 2001. So it's kind of like, okay, what do we do after this? Because we already felt that way because we went to the new millennium. It's like, okay, so what's next? Where do we go from here? We're in a whole new century. What's the direction? And then 9/11 happened, so you are really like, hey, do we still play baseball after this? Will David Letterman go first? Like, who's going to come back and do late night talk shows again? So it seems like, and then, these people are our age. So it's at that point where it's like, okay, we're young adults. And I don't think this is going to go the way that it went with our parents. So, like, I think, I don't know, like, as we get older, it won't be weird if you wear a Superman t-shirt out in public, being 35 plus or whatever. It won't be weird if, things come back from your childhood and you can sport that as a hobby or something. Like, what are we about to go into? So, I always got that vibe from this song and a lot of their earlier music, but I don't know what this is about. What were your thoughts about Ha Ha?
Yeah, I was listening for the context, seeing if they're going to try to sneak something in on me, but I really couldn't. I couldn't figure it out. I listened to it more than a few times since we selected songs for this episode, and then I did the playlist a little bit more recently. But I just stayed on this one song and jumped through it, and I was like, man, I don't know if I'm unlocking it. I don't know if I'm finding it. I don't know if I'm catching the drift of it, but I was like, well, I'll just keep jamming, and then they'll switch it up on me, and then they go back to the bass song, and like you said, they play and they sing, and they're not messing around on either one of those. So, and you can catch that, on some of their other songs, and it's a little bit more obvious what they're doing, even when they added people to the band a little bit later on. In some of the later albums, you can kind of catch some different things that they're trying to do, but net result, yeah, I didn't catch any context out of this song, so I might have missed it.
I can't tell what kind of life I've led today. All that's known is what's debatable again. So, still talking about it's 2003, so we're about to go as far as the United States into the Iraqi war. And it's a situation where some people may have thought, like, I don't know if we should do this. This is about to get hot and heavy. We, as kids, we grew up and we saw a desert storm. So we're like, oh, what's the impact on this? This may be unpopular with some groups. It may be very popular with another group. So it was a lot of division. And it seems like with this song, it's on the surface, it's carefree and whimsy. But I think it's like, hey, I gotta be carefree and whimsy so I don't crack. And that's where like this song is very musically all over the place and frantic, because it's kind of like, how do I act normal?
Right.
So I think that was going on back then.
Yeah.
Y2K.
Yeah, that's true.
The internet. Hey, we're going to bust through the door. Are you downloading stuff illegally? What was that?
What, the Napster, the Napster,
Napsters,
post Napster.
Yeah, so all of that, yeah.
We were probably on to like Bear Share and all of that by then. I mean, I heard that's what people used back then when they downloaded music. Not me, because I didn't do that. But yeah, it's post all of that, and like you say, if they're around our age, there was a lot of things to question, a lot of disillusionment going on at that time, and once you throw in a little bit of GeoCities and blogging and message boards, like this is pre-social media, right? But we already kind of had some of that same energy in the blogosphere. So if you wanted to connect with people, you'd go just do a bunch of typing about what you thought about stuff and see if anybody replied, right? So in some cases, the music started to reflect that from some artists too, because and also too that was post being in an environment where you could put out music, right? You could put out music without trying to sell a cajillion records, because record labels will just like, hey, we know every artist isn't going to be huge, so we're going to give people chances to do different things.
This song is really in your face and out there. You said that you listened to some other songs. Would you consider this ha-ha, poppy, and inviting?
I think the changes is what throws it off from being like super easy to jump into. But I think the vocals are as about as straightforward as you can get. I think the singing is obviously likable and somewhat catchy, maybe less than some of their other songs. But I think it's what I'm trying to catch is the timing signature of it. I think that's probably, if anything stops it from being poppy, it would be that.
These two, I think they're so charming. Like the vocals, they're very charming. They're husband and wife, so they know each other. So I feel like it's very like uplifting and heartwarming. Even when they do songs where it's like a ballad or something, you just want to root for them. And they're touring right now.
I saw that. I was like, okay, they're going to be in Houston in a couple of weeks, and they're already hitting the road and they're out there. So I'm guessing those kids that they were taking on tour with them are much older now. So maybe it's an easier thing for them to get out of there and do it. But man, they did the hard work when they had younger kids and they were taking them out. So I think that's one of those tougher things of being in a couple band. It's like you can't say I'll be back, baby. Watch them kids. You got it's like wait, what are we gonna do with these kids? But yeah, you sent me a link of the video of them being out on tour with the kids when they were younger. Quite a while ago. But yeah, you're right. Yeah, they got a whole slate coming here. So yeah, they're coming here to Houston in a couple of weeks. And in the meantime, yeah, they're going all around the US of A, doing some singing, man. So that's good.
Because they're 6 albums plus. So, like, when I saw them that first time, I would have never imagined this is going to keep going.
Yeah, they started
because there
doing
are a lot of
cover work,
bands.
right?
What's that?
So they started doing cover albums after like 2011, right? Because before that, it was all original material, but then they kind of slowed down for a while.
I think they did one album of covers.
Okay.
But uh, it's amazing that they're still doing this, because there are a lot of bands I saw where I was like, man, this is wonderful, and then that was it. So it was kind of a feat, like, oh, it's a third album. Like, I remember at this time, like in 2003, like, oh, okay, so they're coming back. All right, great. All right, this is still going. And then, like, every time when they would come out with an album, it really was like, oh my gosh, you're still doing this, because, you know, it's hard to keep a relationship going. Now I'm going to keep a relationship and an indie band together to keep going.
Yeah, and doing
So
EPs
every time
too.
they were doing EPs, all this stuff. So, yeah, I was trying to, because I knew I wanted to do Mate to State, and I was like, oh, you know, what record should I pick? And I thought that maybe, I wouldn't say that this record encompasses everything that they do, but I do feel like it did at that point. And that's always something interesting about a third album. Like the first album, like, hey, we went in. You know, it's kind of like with lyricists, where it's like, on that first album, I gave you my life's work. So then on that second album, it's like, all right, I got to come up with new material, because I gave him all on that first one. And then that third album is where it's like, okay, we're used to the studio. We know how this goes. I understand myself as a songwriter and all that. And I felt like that's what this was, especially at that time. I felt like they were confident.
Yeah.
Because I really love the second album. I love the first album. I really love the second album. But I felt like with the third album and this song, it feels like confidence. Because this is the opener.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I listen to Everyone Needs an Editor and Goods All in Your Head. I like that one. Like You
Oh,
Crazy.
Goods, man.
Woo. Yeah, they got some
Oh,
jams. Yeah.
you got to listen to them play live, like I Like You Crazy, and then it goes into CeeLo's Crazy.
Nice.
I should have said that to you.
Oh yeah, you robbed me on that one. Yeah, shoot that over to me. I can follow up and I can continue to jam, because the quest never ends to find some more jams. So yeah, I'll be into it for sure if you send that my way.
It says, I can't tell what kind of life I've led today. So like that introspective, that being self-aware, like, am I doing enough as far as being a member of society? Man, I can't see the darker wood. So it's almost like, I don't know if they're debating themselves, if they're debating society. Like, it's almost like, hey, I was raised one way and I believe this, but now I got to go, like, but the way I was raised, was there a bias behind it?
Well, yeah.
This is the blood that we're made of. Go tell it like a chronicle.
Yeah, now you're starting to unlock some stuff. I mean, it's wild to take yourself back to that time before so many people were viewing so many things from a polarized standpoint, or like a pick a side standpoint. And maybe at this time, this is probably a good time to be yourself, and you're locked up in yourself, and maybe you're not putting yourself in a category to find that power in numbers, so to speak, that some people kind of get wrapped up in now. You're just kind of looking at yourself and saying, okay, I was raised to do things this way. Now I'm trying to do them, but wait, here's all these, big tragedies and issues going on that I don't really know exactly how to deal with. So yeah, I mean, that could be what's going on here too. But again, trying to keep it whimsical and say, yeah, I'm asking all these questions, but I gotta keep going.
And they're betting on themselves, because this isn't a safe bet what they're doing. Like, hey, we're going to be in the band. We're going to do some stuff that's unconventional. Like, we're going to be unconventional about it. So it's a lot of betting on themselves. This is the blood that we're made of. Like, this is an oath. Like, we're doing this. We're not going to be halfway crooks. We have 10 toes in. We're made to stay.
Yep. And what better way to do it? And that's probably why it worked too, because they went all in on it.
Kerry Gardner, Jason Hamill, these guys. And like, this was something where they had jobs before this. And it could have been something where it's like, it's the same. So I'm always blown away with like, nah, man, we're going to bet on this. And like you were saying, at this point with the third album, they didn't have children. And then they had children, like you're saying now, like they might be 15, 16 years old. Like their kids may be able to pick up instruments and get in the band. I would not be surprised if we witnessed that. Because
That'll
I
be cool,
remember,
too.
yeah, because I remember she was with child at one of the shows, and this is before they really started banning smoking inside. So they had to go like, hey, man, like this lady's with child, like don't smoke cigarettes. And like, you had to be kind of cool. Like, okay, yeah, I won't smoke cigarettes. So that's what's kind of crazy. Like, man, that's very interesting because, you know, you and I, we cover stuff where it's like the music is from the 70s, it's from the 60s. So we're not looking at like, oh, if I cover something from 2007, that's not that long ago. But the world was so different and different people were in it walking around. There were people, different kind of people, and there's some folks walking around this world at night that couldn't back then. So this is like some new information. So to say things like, yeah, like this lady, like, hey, I'm going to go on tour and I got to hope these people don't trip when I go, hey, don't smoke inside while we're playing.
Right. And I think, and before it was more like, hey, I'm just going to ask for this because it's what I need. And I'm going to expect to people to do right by me and meet me halfway. And now you think if you ask for that at the wrong time in the wrong town, somebody goes freedom mode on you. And now you're like a meme, you know?
Oh my God. Okay. So yeah. And you know, when you first like hear them, it seems kind of novel. Whereas like, yeah, you know, the guy on drums, the lady's playing keyboards and they're singing. So it seems like, man, I don't know if this can last. And like, they just show you like, no, man, this is going to withstand. Yeah. No, this is out of Lawrence, Kansas, mostly. They live up in Connecticut. I sent you that one where the news did like an expose, like one of those magazine Sunday shows about like, hey, living on the road as a rock star, bring your kids along and having a breast pump and everything. And
yeah, that was wild. Yeah.
Yeah, they talked about how they were making a video for the fourth album. That's when I felt like, okay, they're solidifying themselves, whereas like they're a brand you can trust. And it was one of those things where they're very popular now. It's the little claw machine where you move the claw and it's supposed to pick up like a plush toy or maybe $50 or something. And the kid or the mom was in there for one of those stunts. And it's like, hey, we got to pause for a second because I got to do this breast pump thing. And she was like, they all had to sit around and wait for me to do this. And most of the guys were like 20 something. So they're like, what in the world is going on? They're very easygoing.
Yeah.
They're very the music is easygoing. It really grew up over time. I felt like when I heard this album and this song, I felt like there was a lot of growing up on there. But now looking back, I'm like, no, this is still kind of energetic youth stuff. They're still turning that corner of really refining it and, you know, playing husbands and wives and toning the music down. But this has a lot of crunch.
Yeah, and you can see that with the video too, because it's like they're having fun on that video, and it's a simple set of shots, but they're getting as much out of it as they can, you know.
And I imagine I will see you there. You will have long flowers in your hair. I imagine I will see you there. So I don't know if that's going to be the outcome. I'm imagining that, and maybe that might happen, maybe not.
And she sang that
a possibility.
lyric. That was, you remember, like it was kind of wild that she sung that lyric, and I'm like, oh, how come he's not singing that lyric?
So, man, it's maybe it may not be between the two of them. Maybe it's like some promise that a generation was told, like, hey, man, if you take your Flintstone vitamins, if you say your prayers, if you use your manners, you too can have this.
Yes.
You know, you won't be Elvin and Cassandra and have them move back in with the Huxtables. You can have the American dream too. And like we've seen how that's been like skewed.
Yep. You missed two
Wow.
things though. You didn't do any training and you didn't believe in yourself. So Hulk Hogan would be very upset with you for that example you
Look here,
gave.
brother. Believe in yourself. Take your Flintstone vitamins.
He added that believe in
Wow.
yourself later on. It just depends on when you came in on the Hulk Hogan, but he had the prayers of training and you eating your vitamins. And then he threw in the believing in yourself right around the time when Ultimate Warrior was showing up. That's good times right there.
But he never told you to tell your mother to know her role. He never said that.
No, or shut the mouth either.
Yeah, that's people like 17 years later doing that kind of stuff.
And it all worked. It all worked the same way.
Oh, I can't see where you are. Where is the problem? Square it off, all bother. We're not to blame. And that's like, I don't know if that's one of those things where, you know, sometimes the younger generation want to blame the older generation for how the world is. And the older generation is like, hey, this wasn't what we signed up for either. And that's a conversation happening like every 25 years.
Of course it is, right? And now it's happening both ways, right? Like it's that responsibility. Like, hey, I handed you what I could hand you. Now you need to go take it and make something out of it. And if you don't, we're gonna be mad at you for blowing this. Cause like we gave you a lead and now you're gonna blow the lead. We gave you the baton. We were out in front. We ran as hard as we could, but now it's your turn and you don't look like you're running all that fast. Let's go.
Oh, and at the very end of this record, it sounds like it's like this little rattle with the piano. It's just and it's almost like you lose. And in the video, which I had never knew existed until like a couple of days ago, the two of them, they walk off in opposite directions. Gods and men or whatever, where these two generals from warring sides come and meet to talk to each other on the river. And then after that conversation, we're going to go in opposite directions and continue the fight. So, man, yeah, I remember someone saying this. I was like, oh my gosh, about the Cold War, like in the 80s, a lot of the video games, or some of them, they didn't have like endings because you didn't know how the world was going to end. You're fighting for your life. And like how this song, it's crazy, it's frantic, it's all over the place. It's like a countdown. Like we got to get this done. I'm supposed to have this by this point in my life, and this point, in my life, and this point by this point in my life. So I'm in a rush. I got to rush. And then at the end, where it just ends and it's on a whimper, it's like it's anticlimactic, and it's like, well, there you have it. First song on the record.
Yeah, that's crazy. Now you got me thinking about all these games in the 80s that you just kept playing forever, forever, and forever and ever. It didn't cross my mind that maybe that was why.
Pitfall Part 2. So, hey, last thoughts about this one, Arthur. Ha Ha by Mates of State.
It's a jam. I think it's a group that has a bunch of, and like you say, it's this type of group that sometimes this group may have like 2 albums and disappear off the face of the earth, but they got to have something resembling a full discography. It's great that they're still out there singing too. But yeah, I mean, I was able to jump in just off of this with no tour guide. And like you said, this isn't one of the acts that we talked about. And I was able to put together a playlist that I rode around with and jammed out to. So they deserve the listen. We don't always just hit all the let's say obvious spots, even though those are fun too, because there's a lot to discuss. But I always say it, we're such a blessed people with how much music we have around us. It's just jump in on it, give it some time, and they deserve that for sure.
Check out Mates of State. Check out their music. If they're coming to your town, give it to them. It says active since 1997. Holy moly.
Woo.
Guys, their albums, Rearrange Us, Jigsaw of the puzzle. It's like a jigsaw, baby. I want to hear that live. I've never heard that live. Bring It Back, Ain't Nothing But Jams. Ha Ha, this was on Teen Boo. I love the second album, Our Constant Concern. And the first album is a lot like this record with just the switching on the dime, turning on a corner. You don't know where they're going to go. So I want to thank our Patreon subscribers because you guys are the reason why this particular podcast exists on the Right On Network. And I want to start off by thanking Alan Wright. He's Bold Outlaw, boldoutlaw.com. He's a Robin Hood enthusiast. Go to that website. Delvin Sims. Go on a music platform, type in Merc Bandwidth, MERC Bandwidth, and you can buy his music there. You listen to his music right now. He's the sound of the Right On Network. Cluck Trent, friend of the Right On Network. Kim Federkowski, Mark Blair. We have over in Australia, Paul Hicks. He does Waiting for Doom, DCOCD, The Gary Show on Dial F for Flanger. Gotta love the Paul. Laurel Phillips. We have the Irredeemable Shag over at the Fire and Water Podcast Network. Type in Fire and Water Podcast Network. They got a lot of stuff there if you like following geeky pop culture. Justin Steiner at Substack. He's Shoe Fly Pie. We got Rick from Jeff and Rick Present Unpacking the Power of the Power Pack. Chris Pine 1. Bill Beer of the Bat Pod. April 5K. Check her out on the Manhattan Project talking about Seinfeld and Friends. And Straight Out of the Federation, a Blake 7 podcast. The great and wonderful Jordan Holt and Clinton Robeson of Fan Film Fridays and Coffee and Comics. And if you guys are listening and you're a Patreon subscriber, go there because I got videos of me doing unboxings. Check it out. It'll blow your mind. I got several episodes on there, video. Get that exclusive, Patreon subscribers. And how can they reach us if they have questions about Made to State or some other things that we talked about in the past?
All right. We got otrj on Bluesky. We're on YouTube, so we post the episodes there, so you can start a conversation there. We're on the record jams at gmail.com. We have On the Record on Facebook, and we also have On the Record Jams on the X/Twitter.
So guys, check us out. Do the right thing, protect your psyche, and keep your lamp light trimmed and burning.
Keep jamming too.